Hello and welcome to today's episode of Platinum Talks Wealth. Emmy-nominated journalist Jennifer Rogers Markwell changed gears in her television career when she realized the need to help women make sense of investing. She regularly hosts educational workshops to empower women and others to take charge of their financial future. Now, join your host, Platinum Wealth Management President Jennifer Rogers Markwell, as she leads us into the world of money memories, money infidelities, and how these can mold our relationship with our personal finances as adults. Let's dive into today's episode.
Hi, and thanks so much for spending some time with us. It's Jennifer Rogers Markwell, and you're joining us on the Platinum Talks Wealth podcast. Today, we're joined by Elliot Rosenberg. Elliot, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me, Jennifer.
Yeah, so I always ask, tell me about you and why you do what you do.
Sure. I am the founder of Hack My Honeymoon, which helps people to leverage credit card points and miles to have unforgettable luxury travel experiences at 90% off the sticker price. And the reason why I do that is because I have personally benefited so much from the world of credit card points, miles, and loyalty, and get so excited geeking out about it, and get even more excited when I expose new people to it and unlock really awesome experiences that they would otherwise never be able to afford or give to themselves through the strategies that I share with them, and just get so much joy and fulfillment out of that.
So how did you get into this? I mean, were you a little kid thinking this is what I want to do? Because clearly probably not. Like, how did that evolve?
Yeah, probably not. Probably not. No. It's a long journey to get to this point, but the kind of tipping point for me was that I was running a travel business in Brazil, and I got very jealous of my customers because a lot of them were traveling around the world, and I was in one place, albeit it was a lovely place, but I didn't have that experience of waking up every day and experiencing something novel. So I didn't have a lot of money at the time. I was maybe 24 years old and wanted to have that experience. Somehow, a friend of mine just sort of hinted that this world existed, that you didn't need to have a lot of money as long as you were financially responsible with the money that you did have, then you could unlock tens of thousands of dollars in nearly free travel on a yearly basis just by understanding how credit card rewards programs work, loyalty programs work. And I just dove in really deep. I don't know why. It just resonated deeply with me. And I ended up turning over to the business to a new team and taking a backpack and going to 17 countries over 15 months, largely funded with credit card points, and just having some really lifelong memories out of that experience, things that I probably could have never afforded and would have never given myself the permission to afford without that. Things like flying in a $17,000 first class apartment on Etihad Airways from JFK to Abu Dhabi with a chef who customizes meals to you and a shower that you can bathe in at 35,000 feet. That was a $7 flight for me. Otherwise, $17,000 for people who paid cash. And then even some really cool stays now that I'm married, going on my honeymoon to the Maldives, staying in an overwater villa. That all was possible because of points and miles.
Very cool. So obviously I have several questions for you, right? So
Sure.
as a financial advisor, we always suggest, if you do have a credit card, being responsible, paying it off every month, not going into debt on this. I think that
Number one.
Yeah, what you're sharing is very cool, but it's also, you need to be very disciplined to navigate in this world.
Mm-hmm. Definitely. That's a prerequisite. If you are not financially responsible, if you are someone who spends more money just because you have a credit card as compared to having a debit card or even cash, then this is the wrong world to jump into. And if for whatever reason you pay interest or late fees on credit cards, then either stop doing that or get to a point where you can stop doing that before you even think about any of this stuff.
Yeah. So now that we have the disclaimer out of the way, which I totally agree with.
Yes.
So tell
Yes.
me, I mean, gosh, where do you even begin with this? I mean, for me, I'm a proponent of like, I do have some credit cards. I pay them off every month. I've
Uh-huh.
got the, some of the
Perfect.
traditional
Yep.
hotel cards. I've got some
Uh-huh.
airline cards. I pay them off every month, which I get, and I get points and free hotel stays and whatever. But
Mm-hmm.
you're going much deeper than me staying in a
Sure.
property for free for 2 nights.
Yeah. So before you even get started, the first step is to really understand what are your travel goals. If you come into this with just sort of like shiny object syndrome, you see something on Instagram and you're like, I want to live that lifestyle, but you don't have an understanding of what what exactly you want, then you could end up wasting a lot of time, or like paying annual fees on fancy credit cards that don't actually yield you any value. So starting off with knowing what you like and what you want to do for you and whoever your travel companions are, whether it's a partner, whether it's your kids, friends, whatever the goal is. And then also understanding what are your natural spending patterns. And then from there, you can decide which cards to open and spend on to get the maximum return on your spending and sort of build a passive points earning machine. You don't need to be a really big spender to rack up a lot of points, but if you are a small spender and you want more points, then generally the biggest or the primary way that you will earn points will be from the bonus on a new card, because the bonus on a new card can be many times greater than what you would get just from putting most of your spending on that card over the course of a year. So that's something to understand. Are you someone who's willing to open cards primarily for the bonuses and then decide later, should I ask for a retention bonus, a fee waiver, downgrade the card, or even cancel the card, which is frankly something that doesn't have much of an impact on your credit at all. It's overblown in terms of what that actually does to your credit. But if you have, say, 10,000 plus in personal and business spending per month, then you don't necessarily need to chase cards for the bonuses. You can get 2 or 3 cards that have particular elevated category earnings. It could be like an Amex Gold card that's going to give you 4x points per dollar on dining and grocery. Or it could be an Amex Platinum card that'll give you 5 points per dollar on flights that you book directly with the airlines, et cetera, et cetera. And ideally, you want to accrue what we can call our transferable bank points, which would be Amex, Chase, Capital One, Citi, Wells Fargo. There's something called Built as well, which is used a lot for paying rent. Those are loyalty programs that have different airline and hotel partners. So you can take your points and send them to a dozen or 20 plus different partners, depending on what kind of travel you want to do. So you just have far more flexibility that way as compared to saying, I'm only going to accrue American Airlines miles, which I will then be limited to redeeming on American Airlines flights and then their partner airlines, as opposed to having 20 different airlines and all of their dozens of partners to redeem on.
Okay, so the big question too, if you don't mind me asking, is how do you get
Of
paid?
course.
So I know that there's differences in, obviously, if you are having people sign up for credit cards, you can get different bonuses or whatnot as well.
Uh-huh.
How does that work for you?
Oh, so me as a business.
Yes.
Yeah, so we charge clients directly. We don't have any affiliate links. Most of the big blogs out there that you see are content creators generally monetize through affiliate links. And the dirty secret is that oftentimes those affiliate links have inferior offers as compared to other offers that you could get, say, by asking a friend for a referral or just Googling and going directly to the bank. So we don't monetize that way at all. We charge clients directly, and that's for our done for you end-to-end travel concierge service using credit card points. So that's helping you put in place a points earning engine. And then once you have the points, putting together an entire itinerary of flights, hotels, vacation rentals, and experiences. So you don't have to think about it or fill in the gaps. And then when it comes time to take your trip, we're there for live trip support.
Fantastic. No, thanks for clarifying, because I was curious on that
Mm-hmm.
too. So
Yeah.
what would you say your most momentous bucket list trip has been so far to date?
Bucket list trip. Well, there was the 17 countries over 15 months with a backpack that varied from really roughing it, getting out into the wild, like I did a 19-day trek in Nepal, across the highest mountain pass in the world, learned how to kite surf in the Philippines, um, got scuba certified there as well. So the experiences on that trip were awesome in terms of like luxury experiences, flying Qatar Airways Q Suite, where you have sliding privacy doors, you have seats that fold into beds, and then they put like a mattress over your seats so you and your partner can like sleep next to each other with the divider down and dine on demand. That's another excellent one. And then we recently stayed at a resort in the desert in Dubai. So not in the city, but it's like a luxury desert resort where you stay in what looks to be a Bedouin tent, but it's actually super modern and has the full amenities on the inside. You have like a private plunge pool overlooking dunes. Supposedly, it's where the Dubai royal family vacations, or one of the places they vacation. So that was another cool one. But it's been a mix of like unlocking some remote off the beaten path experiences and then some high end luxury stuff that I could never otherwise afford.
That's awesome. No, thank you for sharing. So another thing we talk about on this podcast are money memories. What's a money
Uh-huh.
memory that you've had or experienced as a younger person or
Mhm.
as a child that helped mold your relationship to money as an adult?
Yeah, when I was maybe 6 years old, 5 or 6 years old, I remember on a lot of Sundays it was sort of tradition for my dad to sit me on his lap and open up the Wall Street Journal or Barron's. And this was like in the 90s before people used even used websites to track portfolios.
You are listening to the Platinum Talks Wealth Podcast.
Hey, it's Jennifer. I wanted to take a quick break to remind you that you are worthy to have a seat at the table when it comes to money and your finances. We, both me and my team at Platinum Wealth Management, want to meet you where you are, whether you're starting out, starting over, or have been investing for years. Reach out to us at platinumwealth.net or call us at 775-717-0001. We'd be honored to help.
And now, back to the podcast.
And we'd look at those rows and rows and rows of small print of stock prices, and he'd explain what a PE ratio is and say buy low, sell high. And I think I maybe got like a small gift of money from my grandmother and for a birthday or something. And then I said, Daddy, I want to pick this stock. So we invested in that. That was a good upbringing that I had and exposure to investing.
That's cool. And here you are now.
Here I am now. Yeah.
Quite a journey. Well, so
Yeah.
another thing we chat through are financial infidelities, which can be a big, scary,
Uh-huh.
hairy word to a lot of people. What's a financial
Yeah.
infidelity that you've experienced or that you've witnessed that you think others could learn from?
Yeah, I've had multiple experiences either as a business owner or as an employee with like a lot of ownership over a business. where clients either stiffed me or just took forever to pay, and invested a lot of like emotional energy into chasing invoices and late payments, and really struggled with that, and like kind of let uh, the impact or the loss go beyond financial to emotional. And
Mhm.
I definitely regret those experiences.
Yeah, that's so true because it can definitely take a bigger toll than just looking at a financial, statement by all means. How did you
Right. Yeah.
navigate through that, if you don't mind me asking deeper?
When I was my own business, I just chased and chased and chased and got to the point where I realized I was just spending far more time than whatever late or unpaid invoice was worth. And then as an employee at my last company, where I was leading everything sales, um, having like team-wide strategy meetings of how to like psychologically um, manipulate a client who is maybe like 6 months past due on a large invoice into paying us, and like what leverage we could have to make that happen. Ultimately, what worked was persistence, but what I regret was just the extent that it like took up our mental space.
Interesting. No, you're the first person that shared that in the
Yeah.
almost 2 years of doing this podcast on a weekly basis.
Thanks for having me, Jennifer.
And those of you watching and or listening, hopefully you'll join us on our next Platinum Talks Wealth podcast.
If you enjoyed today's podcast, Platinum Talks Wealth, please subscribe and share. For more information about Jennifer Rogers Markwell or Platinum Wealth Management, please visit www.platinumwealth.net. Securities and advisory services offered through LPL Financial, a registered investment advisor, member of FINRA and SIPC. The opinions voiced in this podcast are for general information only and are not intended to provide specific advice or recommendations for any individual. To determine which strategies or investments may be suitable for you, consult the appropriate qualified professional prior to making a decision. The guest speakers and their companies are not affiliated with or endorsed by LPL Financial or Platinum Wealth Management.